Hey guys, Matt here. Um, Earlier I was doing a demo, as you can see, with all these FSA downloader, and I had a file that should trigger as high risk or suspicious come back as clean. And one of the reasons that happens is if your VM internet access is, or your VMs can't access the internet. And what you'll see here is you'll see SIMNET on. So this is where FortiSandbox actually simulates internet access when it can't really reach the internet. The reason this happened was because I made some changes over the weekend and was cleaning up some rules in my lab, and I had inadvertently deleted the internet access rule for my VMs. By default, your port 3 is your VM internet access port on a FortiSandbox 500F. So just by reinstating that rule, everything's good and happy now. But let's not just take my word for it. Let's go ahead and test it out. So we can test this by downloading a particular file, and it's a FSA downloader, so it's something we've developed internally, but it acts like a dropper. So what I could do is I could call this FSA test, and let's make sure that the FortiSandbox is actually running. So what we can do here is we'll go ahead and upload this, and as you'll see, this downloaded from this guy here, and submitted to FortiSandbox is true right here. So we can go over to FortiSandbox real quick and take a look. It's analyzing. As you can tell, it's a suspicious file test. This is a screenshot. It's not the active VM. But as you'll notice, it gets to 6.5% or so, and it goes ahead and it goes, bam, this is bad. And one of the ways you can tell that is you can look here. So this is the 91F6B2. So if you look at this is the file we just downloaded. And that's my email dinging right now, saying, hey, this file is high risk. So you may want to pay attention, and you can go ahead and click here. Now, why is this bad? Well, let's go ahead and take a look. So we're going to go ahead and click on the timeline, and since it's suspicious and not confirmed malicious, we can go ahead and click on it, click here, kind of go through the trace through. Now, based on the indicators here, it's a suspicious URL, so it's not quite sure what to make of the URL. Maybe it's not rated, maybe it's a shortened URL, not really sure. But this is really the key thing here, and the way we can figure this out is we see that this file downloads or drops files. So the file it's trying to download is a known iCard test file. So while the iCard test file is agreed upon, sometimes this is a good way of evasion, is going ahead and trying to download the file. Also, a couple of other things it tried to do is try to mess with some registry entries, things that you typically wouldn't necessarily try to do. And that's really all there is to it. Now, to go ahead and test this again to make sure, so one of the things you can double check is you can go to malware package here. One of the cool things is you see this version 3.102. And what had happened here is because it regards the file as high risk or suspicious, it created a signature of that file. And now the FortiGate, if we go here to Security Fabric Settings, what you'll find here under Security Fabric Settings is that the dynamic malware detection version is 3.102, as is the URL threat detection version. So this is how FortiSandbox can actually create dynamic signatures for you on a suspicious or unknown threat. Now I have mine configured to submit to FortiGuard Labs, so they'll probably analyze this further if this were a real threat. and they would issue a real patch in the event that this is a true threat or a real definition, so that it gets propagated out. But in the meantime, my infrastructure is covered, and any device that is an input device into FortiSandbox now has this signature, and we can verify that. This is one FortiGate that I just used to do that. I'm going to access another one, and so we're going to go here and look in settings and double check our signature version. Again, 3.102. There are a number of other devices that we could go check on, but that's a little bit outside of the scope of this demo. So now that this signature has been passed along, by putting this same URL in, it will attempt to download the same file. If I were to change this, it'll change the hash of the file, and it could get re-inspected again. But by clicking this, just like that, you'll see it's a high risk, and therefore this got blocked because of the signature that FortiSandbox created. Thank you very much. I appreciate you watching. I hope this was helpful, and I look forward to talking to you next time.